Alright, hey guys, what's going on? My brain is fried at the moment. I've just read the new issue of The Walking Dead. I can't even think straight at the moment. It's like, we all knew it was coming, but it doesn't make it any easier. I woke up this morning, knowing that the issue was being released. Turns out my copy wasn't coming today. It's coming tomorrow, so I had to find a copy of it online. Sorry, I have to readjust the camera. So I found a copy online that my friend sent to me. So I started reading it. It's 8:30 in the morning. I've already read it. I've read it 3 times to make sure I've got it stuck in my head. And this is my official review. I'm recording it at 8:30 in the morning. I've literally been awake for about an hour, if that. So let's go. Spoiler alert. If you haven't, been reading the comics, or you haven't read the comics, full stop. So, of course, one of the main things that everybody was excited about, or not excited about in this issue, was the death of Andrea. I was in denial. I really was. I didn't want to accept it at all. But it was almost certain. And I was reading it, and I was waiting for the moment that they discovered that it wasn't a bite, but it never came. So let's go from what happened right at the very start. So, on the very first page, we've got Andrea with the bite on her neck, looking all sweaty and like she's coming with a fever. And at this point, Rick knows what's happening. He's got tears in his eyes and everything. And this basically sets the scene for the entire issue. Like, this is what the entire issue is like. And it's just so emotional, and we've not had an issue like this in a long time. I think it was issue 146. I want to say 146, or was it 145? 145, when we saw all the heads of like Ezekiel and all like the other minor characters, and I've not felt like this in a long time since I read that issue, and it's just like, you don't get this with most other comics. Like, I've read some other comic series, and I've never had a feeling like this. But this one page, it just kind of, I had to take a break after this one page because I knew what I was in store for, and it was a bite, and she's gonna die. So Rick screams for help. He's asking for somebody to help him, because Andrea's just collapsed in his arms. Michonne comes running in. She knows she was there when she got bitten. So she knew. She just got back and seen Andrea all like sweaty and dying. She tells Rick how it happened, like how Eugene got surrounded and Andrea came in to save the day. But she tells him that it's not Eugene's fault at all. He was just doing what he could to help everybody. And if it was up to everybody else, they would have left Eugene and everyone would have got out fine. But Rick, he understands. He does not blame Eugene at all. So that's good. Dwight comes in. Now, in the last issue, there was a little bit of a fighting scene between a bit of Sherry and a bit of Rick. So Sherry, of course, is Dwight's ex-wife. So Dwight comes in, sees that Andrea's on the floor all collapsed, and then sees his ex-wife on the floor dead. So his mind is just blown. Like, he doesn't know what's going on. So he asks Rick, how did this happen? What did she do? And then Rick tells him, she tried to stab me. It was an accident. Dwight kind of give him the look, which I'm kind of worried about. That look I'm worried about because the new cover for issue 169 got released, and it's basically of Dwight standing over Rick with a gun. And that look that Dwight gave Rick is kind of worrying, especially since, what happened in, with that cover. Next pages are all about just Andrea and Rick. Rick says, how did this happen? And then Andrea tells him the story that Michonne told him about how she was trying to save Eugene and how she just got too careless. And then she quotes herself. She says, in quotation marks, "We don't die," end quotation. So much for that. Now that is a very emotional line because that's what she's been saying since before All Out War. When she was in that tower fighting the Savior, she said, "We don't die," and then threw the Savior out of the side of the church. And it's just like, now that she's finally gonna die, she's quoted herself on that, and it's just, I don't have any words. Carl comes in. Now, of course, Carl already lost his mum back in issue 48, so Carl, he's about to lose his second mother, and it's just so emotional because he walks in and you can see that look in the one eye that he's got. You can just see that he knows what's coming, and it doesn't make it any easier. He's not crying because he's been told to keep it strong by Andrea herself. So Eugene walks in. Now Eugene is so sorry for himself. He's blaming himself for Andrea's bite. The first words that he says when he walks into the room is, "I'm so sorry. It was all my fault." Rick tells him to suck it up. It's not his fault. That's not how it works. Andrea doesn't want any sadness in this room at the moment. So it isn't anybody's fault. You can calm down. They share this hug though. Rick hugged Eugene. I don't think we've ever seen that before, so that's quite a cool advancement. And then for the next page, it's just all the major characters saying goodbye to Andrea. Now this is what hit me right in the feels. The first one is Eugene, still blaming himself. And it's just kind of sad, really. Manga, Heath, Laura. Lydia walks in, starts telling how she's going to take care of Carl. Jesus walks in, this is quite cool, I'm going to say exactly what he said. He says, "Hell of a way to go. That's a story they're going to be telling for years to come, if that means anything to you, because of how she got bitten." Maggie walks in with Herschel and Sophia. Then Vincent. Then Sadiq. Annie, Kelly and Connie walk in. Of course, Connie recently had her arm amputated because she got bitten. Negan walks in now. This is really cool what he says. And then Aaron walks in, starts talking about the first time that he saw her and how she was really intimidating. Earl Sutton talking about how he was supposed to make her a sword but never got around to it. And then Michonne, "You were a good friend, one of the best I ever had." And then Rick. He's beating himself up, talking about how he couldn't have been there to save her. Andrea's just talking about how people die, and there's nothing that can be avoided. The next scene is just a page of just Rick and Andrea on the bed. The next page, Andrea's looking dead pale. Her eyes are changing colours. Rick's got tears in his eyes. Rick holds out the gun that's actually on the cover of this issue. Points at his head, points it at Andrea's head, drops it. He can't do it. Hugs her corpse because is dead. She's dead now. Said, "I can't do this, not without you. This isn't who I am. I can't keep pretending I'm stronger than I am." Then she resurrects. She reanimates. She grabs Rick. Rick looks away, he can't look at her like that, and as Andrea's about to bite him, Rick pushes her onto the floor. She gets back up and tackles him to the floor. He puts a gun to her head. He can't do it. He throws her onto the floor, pulls out a knife, and stabs it in the side of her head. And that's the end of Andrea. It's just so sad. I've been reading these comics now for about a year. Regularly, and not as long as many as other people, but I've been watching the show since 2010. I didn't really like Andrea in the show, but Andrea in the comics, she was the best character, if not my favourite character. And to see it go like this, and that page as well, where she's just a corpse on the floor, it's just so, I never thought we'd see something like this. Not with a major character like Andrea. It's like seeing it with Rick. Rick walks outside looking for Carl to tell him what happened. Walks outside. Carl, Sadiq, Maggie, Herschel, Sophia, Manga, Laura, Kelly, Connie, Michonne, Lydia, Annie, Heath, Jesus, Vincent, Aaron, and Earl are all stood outside. They know what's just happened. Then there's pictures of them all crying. And there's little boxes all across the screen, basically quoting exactly what Andrea's just said in the past few pages. Rick kneels down, and everyone starts putting their hands on his shoulders. It's actually a really, really touching page. Then Rick stands up, says, "Follow me. There is still so much to do." And that's where it ends. But that's not all. There is actually a little page at the back where Robert Kirkman talks about Andrea's death. I am going to read it to you. I am a bit ill at the moment, so I might not be able to do it like how I've done it in my other videos, but I'll try my hardest. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to my fans, and to myself, and to Andrea. I feel like I killed a close friend. The deaths in this series are never taken lightly. They're done with a sense of glee. They weigh on me the same way that they weigh on you. These characters are very real to me, and their deaths are upsetting even to me. I plotted this issue during a plane ride a few months ago. I plotted my stories down with a pencil and paper, and there I was in my seat, blocking out scenes and writing dialogue notes, surrounded by strangers who probably thought I was just jotting down a shopping list. As I was writing some of the moments from this issue, I started crying. I found myself glancing around, wiping my eyes, hoping no one would notice. I've been living with this death now for months, and I do not like it. I had plenty of time to change my mind. I had plenty of time to just not do it. I am in control of this story after all. But honestly, sometimes it feels like I'm not. This is one of those times. I don't like this. I don't want this. I want Andrea to live. I want to write more stories with her. I want to see her and Rick grow old together. Watching Carl grow up and have kids of his own. I want that kind of happiness for these characters. Yet here we are. Andrea is dead, and the story moves on. I don't know why this had to happen, but I know it did. I know this is another important turning point in the life of this series. I know Andrea's death will mean something, that it will resonate in the stories moving forward for years to come. But I still don't like it. It still upsets me. I loved Andrea, and I will truly miss her. So yeah, solid issue. Every time an issue comes out, I'm going to be rating it. Seeing as though this is my first one, I feel like I should explain myself a little bit. I've wanted to do stuff like this for a very long time, and I have actually got recorded videos of me reviewing other issues, like older issues, before I started YouTube, but I'll never upload them, obviously, for obvious reasons. For story, I give it a 9. It's just, you can't get any better story than that. For action, there was no action, so I can't really rate it. And for character development, a solid 8. Because this is a massive turning point for Rick Grimes, and it's a massive turning point for Dwight, and it's a massive turning point for Alexandria, the Hilltop, and the Kingdom in a whole. So, this was one of the most, plot-filled issues that we've had in a while. So, I just think that an issue like this, overall, I'm going to give it an 8.5. It's so good. I've enjoyed it. I can't wait to get my own issue and add it to my collection. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, then give it a like. Or not, it's completely up to you. I'll see you guys in the next video.